Hi, I'm Damon, CEO of British Design Fund, and I'm joined today by Nigel from Zeus. How are you, Nigel?
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, very well, thank you.
So you are one of our recent investments from the first quarter of the year. So these short interviews just a way for us to share with our investors where their money's being deployed, meet some of the founders, but also for us to kind of make a bit of a song and dance about the great innovations that we're backing as well. So it'd be great to hear from you. That won't take too long, but just hear from you about how you found the problem that you're addressing, kind of where you've got to with the technology and kind of what the plans are for this year, really.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I can't take credit for the technology because it was found before I joined the company. But I work for a family company. My mother and father founded the business almost 40 years ago. My father's a mad inventor. I still employ him. Um, and about 10, 12, we can't pin down the date, 10, 12 years ago, met some very, very clever, intelligent folk at King's College and Guy's Hospital in their respiratory department who were working on alternatives for treatment for sleep apnea. And they liked the idea. My father suffered from sleep apnea, and we grew up with him snoring and rattling the house as kids and things like that. And so they invested in this technology by helping the professor and his colleagues develop the early prototypes, put it through the early clinical trials, all the way back in 2016. The first one
Yeah.
was published. So
And I remember so
that
and and
came
and not a surprise that your family were kind of at King's and your father was there looking at stuff. I mean, your the family business is in the medical device space, so this is not it's not that unusual, I guess, that you'd be at King's looking at innovations there, right?
Well, true, yes, yeah. The family business designs, develops, and manufactures in UK medical devices, and they've been doing
Yeah.
it for a long time. Not and this very different for me. I was a sportsman and then a coach, and then I ran a clothing brand that I started for a number of years, and fell into the family business that I swore I'd never want to get involved in. So, yeah.
Well, well, no, but I think the kind of it's useful to have that. You've got the experience of growing up around sort of very technical manufacturing environment, but then you're bringing kind of commercials from having actually gone out and done a bit of graft and get some brands off on your own as well. It's good. It's because the early years of every business definitely it requires a fighting spirit, and it's not a walk in the park. But it can be a lot of fun. But yeah, it's a lot of hard work. So it's good. It's good you got the commercial blend there. So whereabouts? So do you want to sort of tell us in real layman terms what it is that the Zeus product does, who it's applicable for, maybe some of the early sort of traction you've had, and what the plans are for this year?
Yeah, absolutely. So, essentially, it's a tiny little. This is it, tiny little device. All the electronics are in here, and what it does, the first version of this, which is to treat snoring. The reason you snore is your tongue, which is a muscle, relaxes when you're asleep, like all your other muscles, and it relaxes and vibrates in the back of your throat, and that's why people snore. So, and you relax a bit more when you've had maybe a drink or two. So that's why more people snore when they drink, etc. But however, there is a muscle here. So what Zeus does is you stick it under your chin at night, and it stimulates these muscles here, which pull the tongue forward while you sleep. And you don't notice it, you can't feel it, and it's very, very clever bit of kit. So it's been through three clinical trials for sleep apnea and snoring. While we're working on the medical device to release in 2026, we thought we'd release a commercial B2C device. We sold 1,000 units a few years ago to prove the market, and that was without any marketing. So it was a bit of a testing, and that was sold by a load of engineers. So with no marketing, no experience. So what we did is,
But out of interest, like how did people even know that you existed then? So it's fascinating. I was with another brand this week, and they'd had a similar experience. They'd managed to get to market with basically no marketing spend, and it was direct to consumer. So I always love to hear the stories, like the the detail behind how you actually go and pull that
well,
off.
we did a really bad failed Indiegogo attempt. We think we went too clinical around it. So that was and so that they've sold a few through there, but not many at all. It was very so we sold enough to think, okay, let's make 1,000, see how we go. So we did that, and then found a really good charity, the biggest sleep charity in the UK. Found we stumbled across them. We're still working very tightly with them at the moment. They became a distributor. They sold a few hundred.
Mm,
The big one was an ENT surgeon with a good YouTube following, a good social media following, picked up on it and reviewed it and gave it a really good review on his YouTube channel. That sold a lot, and that sold a lot worldwide, actually. We sold to kind of
really?
20, 30 companies, but the big one was unbeknownst to us. We came in and we'd sold a fair few, and we came in one Monday morning, and the guy shipping them out went, "What did you do with Zeus on the weekend?" Said nothing at all. Why? We just sold out of the last 300. I said, what do you mean? We were selling like five a week and we sold 300
Yeah,
a weekend. I was
yeah.
like, what are you talking about? So we went on Google and found it. And the Daily Mail picked up on it, unbeknownst to us, and compared it against 10 other snoring devices and snoring
Mm.
treatments. And we came out the best one, 8 out of 10, and the most cost effective and best one. And that, that gave us the, okay, right, we might, we think we might be, let's accelerate this, let's go out, let's do it properly, get the marketing, rebrand it, and not
Yeah,
have engineers do marketing, which is,
yeah, yeah. Sometimes it works, often it doesn't. But yeah,
yeah.
no, well done. It's no small feat selling your first 1,000 units. It's quite a milestone. Yeah, so this is so you are slightly different to the profile of many of our other portfolio companies in that you have already transacted and sold, albeit this is now a rebranded, slightly more polished version going out. But
Yeah.
so there's a lot of comfort around the fact that this thing works. Your customers want it, and we kind of know where we're heading. So when's the sort of launch date for this year? Do you think roughly? I won't pin you down, and we are recording this conversation, so I'll be able to refer back to it. But being kind of conservative, when do you think you'll be launching sort of the Generation 2 product this year?
So we have 2,500 in manufacture at the moment, and we are launching officially mid-June. So no exact date, but mid-June we will have 2,500 units on our shelves in Petersfield, down in Hampshire, ready to go and launch it. I've bought on a fantastic team. So I bought on a head of sales and marketing, a lady called Jane, and then I've got a content manager and a customer experience manager looking after setting up all the Shopify, the website,
Mm.
social, everything you need these days to sell, as opposed to getting an article in a magazine and things like that.
Yeah, well, as you've proven with the first 1,000, that content piece, and it's true of whether you're B2C, B2B, or whatever your kind of route to market is, that content piece is so important. It's so sticky. There is a cost associated with it. Somebody
Yes.
somebody has to produce this content, but compared to sort of endless paid ads on Instagram and Facebook, which you need a mix of these things, but that content is so important. And as you can see, when it gets picked up, it's sticky, it stays there, and it can clear the shelves off over a weekend, which is quite nice.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'm actually after this going off one my Rachel, my content creator, is coming around, and I'm the model for it, but only hopefully this part of my face that nobody else sees. Just do some cheap
And
examples.
so, so what can we expect then, just before we sort of wrap up, for the next sort of couple of years? What are the plans for Zeus? Like, where do you want to take this?
So big. Just what we want to do is prove it. So, but properly generate revenue with our B2C model. Get it out there across UK, Europe, anywhere that's CE, UK CA mark, so we can do Middle East and things like that. So we are looking for distributors. We're in early talks with Boots just to get it
Mm,
online at the moment, which gives us a bit of kudos as well. And then, but we're also working on the background. We've got loads in the development pipeline we'd like to improve, but the big one next year will be actually releasing it as a medical device. So the rest of
mm,
this year is earmarked for getting it through Class 2A medical device, and then the very, very long process of getting it into the NHS.
yeah.
But where we do have a big example, big advantage of NHS, our first pilot case that we can get all our health economics, all our proving it how good it is for the NHS. We can work with Guy's Hospital with that, who are the biggest respiratory hospital in the country, which is, that's a huge leg up.
Yeah, and also that kind of compliance piece. This is your kind of bread and butter really from the
Yes.
family business side of things. You can take a lot of comfort that
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
we can model it out reasonably accurate. There's always a few unknowns, but yeah, it can be
Of
kind of
course.
reasonably accurate with all.
Yeah.
Well, Nigel, absolute pleasure. Look, we're delighted to have you on board and work with you and be a part of your journey.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Brilliant to have you on board. I've been following Design Fund for a long time. They've got some fantastic companies, so glad to be
Great,
part
thanks.
of it.
Lovely. Thanks, Nigel.
Brilliant.
All the best.
Thanks very much. Cheers.